So in the wake of the Democrats' underperformance on Tuesday night, Democratic Congressman Brendan Boyle of Pennsylvania says he's looking to revive the House's blue-collar caucus to, quote, address the party's clear and consistent underperformance with working-class voters. And Congressman Boyle joins us now. He's just won re-election to his seat. Congratulations. And holding down Pennsylvania's 2nd congressional district. Good to have you, sir.
Congressman, it's always good to see you. It's good to see you. So, you know, Michael and I have been having a debate.
We have a little debate, so she's going to give you a question. I'm just letting it's coming, so just hold on.
Look, the congressman knows. The congressman, who is working class? When people say working class, who are they talking about?
Yeah, so I want to be clear because I am a fan of your show, and I've been listening to the little debate that you've been having. I'm talking about non-college educated voters of all ethnicities and backgrounds. To diagnose the problem very simply, about a decade ago, we started to see a real drop among working class white voters. That has now spread to working class Latino voters and a little bit of slippage among working class African American males. This is not just a problem among one ethnicity or the other. I think that as a party, we need to redouble our efforts among all working class voters. Look, these are folks like my parents. These are folks who literally live on my block right here in Philly. I live in a working class neighborhood. The reality is, for a lot of Americans, even though I genuinely, passionately believe that our party is on their side and the other party is for multimillionaires and billionaires, the reality is what we're selling isn't culturally connecting with a whole lot of folks who I genuinely believe we're on their side. So that is the point of the work that me, Mark Vesey, and others are really attempting to do to reconnect the Democratic Party to our roots.
State Representative Harris from your state, the great state of Pennsylvania, was on with us yesterday, and his way of distilling that same concept got such a response from us that I want to play it again and get your take on the other side. Take a listen.
So any notion that we've lost touch with working class folks, in my opinion, is just false. That's not true. We've been working. Now here, I will say this though. Sometimes our party is too much Starbucks and not enough Dunkin' Donuts. Woo! And I think that is a problem that we need to address. For example, we could talk about the economy, and for many people who have a 401k, who have a portfolio, the economy is good. But for the person that was able to buy the same bottle of ketchup 2 years ago for a price that is now double, the economy doesn't look good for them.
Congress, I guess my question is it about messaging or is it actually about policy? And also in this media ecosystem where part of what we're understanding is that there's a kaleidoscope between what y'all are saying and what people are hearing, how do you make sure that message lands?
Yeah. So first, I served in the State House with Jordan. He's a fellow Philly guy, sat behind me on the State House floor. And I see that he's continuing to harass me just like he did when we served together as state reps, only this time on cable. But I don't disagree with anything Jordan said. I mean, I think a good bit of this is perception. However, we also have to take a step back and recognize unique to 2024 is the fact, because of the global inflation crisis, literally for the first time since 1905, every single party in power around the globe has dropped their vote share, and most of them have been voted out of office. So there's no question that the inflation crisis that people are still feeling the effects of dictated a lot of this outcome. But what I'm attempting to do is not just look at the 2024 results and really look over the last decade, and it's good news and bad news. The good news is Democrats are doing better than ever among college-educated voters, again, of all ethnicities. But the bad news is that the historic base of the Democratic Party, people who our economic policies are geared to help, are increasingly voting for the party that is for multimillionaires and billionaires.
I think that this debate that's beginning to emerge, I think, is an important one because it does see, in a real way, bringing together both the economic piece, you know, the Starbucks versus the Dunkin' Donuts, the class side of that, as well as the ethnicity. Before, and this is where Simone and I were having our conversation, up until this election cycle where it's been much more pronounced and the way people are now talking about it and are, quote, concerned about the working class, that was largely defined as white middle-class America. And we've seen that shrink. In the process, the Democrats, had created this alliance with black and brown folks as well. Now that's fractured and cracking around race, it's cracking around class, it's cracking around economic issues. How do you begin to piece this back together when you have someone like Donald Trump who has figured out how to sort of insert himself in between those cracks? And to further widen them, as we saw in this election, where more and more folks are now buying this. Republicans are working for the working class, when we haven't seen the full evidence of that yet. How do you begin to sort of re-cement those relationships and talk about it? It's not just about unions. It's not just about some of the more traditional things that Democrats have relied on in the past.
Yeah, you raise a couple very important points there. First, I do just want to underscore, this is not just a working class white issue. While the final data will come out a few months from now from Catalyst, we probably did lose working class Latino males in this election for perhaps the first time in American history. That is a serious problem that has real ramifications, not just for this election, but for the future. So this is broader, actually, than what we're seeing just among one race or one ethnicity. You're also right that it's not just economic, but there's a cultural component to it as well. And look, we as Democrats are facing an enormous challenge when it comes to whether it's Fox News or a whole right-wing media ecosystem that is making it harder than ever for us to break through. The reality is the other side is caricaturing a lot of us as coastal elitists who are disconnected from America. Now, I know that's not true. Michael knows I'm one of those crazy Eagles fans, and I'll have my Eagles jersey on as soon as this interview is over. And these are my people. The idea that I'm a coastal elitist is pretty hilarious. However, the other side is getting away with caricaturing us in that way, and we need to confront it and fight back hard. But here's the good news. I am actually very confident we're going to win the 2025 local elections and the 2026 midterm election. That was the pattern in 2017 and 2018. Donald Trump is a massive screw-up. He has been his entire life, and he's not going to change at 78. He will present Democrats a lot of opportunities for success.
Brendan Boyle.
Okay. See, that's what I love about Brendan. He, that Philly comes out. Yeah, it's just, better be prepared.